Hi everyone. Figured I'd make a quick video on, what did I learn in my first 5 years of owning Tesla? So basically from 2014 to 2019 that have helped me over the last 5 years, especially where, I've had feelings of kind of missing the boat on a couple of investment opportunities and stocks that have, had done many multiples, if you will. Well, Tesla's mostly stayed stagnant. So, anyways, just a reminder, 2014, I bought my first shares. And, a couple things that I remember. One was there's kind of the sentiment at the time that buying individual shares of stock is dangerous. You should be buying mutual funds, or I think ETFs were the thing at that time already, were kind of early, if you will, in becoming popular. And I did buy some of those, but, I figured, okay, well, one is I did some reading on investing. Also, in my own mind, I'm like, what's wrong with putting a little bit, especially when I'm on the younger side. So the book I happened to read said, up to 15%. So great. So I bought my first shares of Tesla in 2014. And I remember, I'd buy, and then there's no one for me to talk to, since no one around me was buying individual stock. And I found a few years later that a parent of a friend owned Tesla shares and been a long time owner, and also I knew that he owned a Tesla, but I didn't talk to him for a few years about Tesla. So really, I would just buy, and then I would read and think about it, and then I'd buy some more. And then if the stock price went up, I'd get excited. And if it went down, I'd feel really bad. But then I would buy some more. And I did that for basically a few months until I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. I'm just throwing my money away here. And then I didn't really check it again much. I just sort of counted it as some silly decision that I'd made until the crypto craze in 2017. So now it became from a silly decision to like, oh my gosh, what a bad decision that I'd made. But I remembered my old lessons. I just kept holding, and I really didn't look at the stock again for another couple years until 2019, when a friend at work who had bought some and had started selling said, oh my gosh, Tesla's going up. So it's like, oh, I own some Tesla. And I looked at my portfolio. I'm like, whoa, yeah, that's great. But again, remembering my lessons from school, I didn't sell. I just kept holding. And while my friend was selling, Tesla stock kept going up and kept going up. And, then the stock splits happened. I think the first one was in 2020. So, this was great. So that was my first 5 years. Really, I didn't do anything for my first 5 years, and I almost never looked at it, and I didn't read the news, and I didn't know all the stuff going on behind the scenes at Tesla. So it was almost like I went to sleep one day, had a couple dreams, and then I woke up in 2019, and my stock was way up. So that was cool. And I was really just focusing on my work, like I had a career, and was working hard and building that up, and doing my best, and doing well in the workplace, if you will. And I just figured I'd work till I'm 65 and invest in my 401k, and I'd forgot about my Tesla stock. Then COVID happened in 2020, right? And a big difference for me, big change, was I started consuming a lot more on YouTube, and I started, I'm sure like most of us, reading the news way more than I did before. And I don't as much today, but I still do watch way more than I did between 2014 and 2019. I watch a lot of YouTube now. Now I'm making videos. And I keep track of the news. However, so we all see all the negative news that's always on about Tesla. I remember someone one of the channels mentioned a statistic. It's like some well over 90% of news on Tesla is negative. Plus, we see other other companies' stock just doing really well. Well, it's very easy for me to make the analogy to my first 5 years of investing in Tesla. Remember, I bought after its first rise. I forget if I mentioned this at the beginning, but the people I knew, the people who I think, who I watch online who bought Tesla generally seem to have bought before 2013 or in 2019 or in or more recently they started buying. I don't know anyone who bought when I bought, like 2014, 2015, which was just after that first rise. So I had the privilege of just writing it out for 5 years. But what did I do when I wrote it out? Nothing. And I didn't consume anything. As in, I didn't watch the news, I didn't watch YouTube. So now I watch all these things, and I do have, normal human emotions, and some of them make me feel, that's really bad, or this is really good. But all you have to do is remember to my first 5 years of investing when I didn't watch anything. And I remember when I first bought, I had conviction in buying, and I just forgot about it for 5 years, and then it went up. So I kind of think about that again, where I maintain my conviction in Tesla, and I remember that. So sometimes I read things, I was like, oh, maybe I should sell now. And I know there are some folks who've been investing for a long time who sold, maybe they bought back. But I don't really have the urge, even if I, have the emotion, I never think, oh, I'm going to sell my shares. I suppose there can be some gigantic thing that would make me lose my conviction. But that's definitely not the case right now. This is not financial advice, please remember. But I just remember my lesson from my first 5 years. I just pretend whenever I get my emotions that I'm actually not watching any of this, and I'm ignoring it all like I did my first 5 years, and I did miss some investment opportunities then, but patience really worked out. So I'm playing that game now. You all do what's best for you, but I'm playing the patience game. I've already played it for a decade, and I can play it for a lot longer, and I can outlast anyone in this, I think, in the stock market. So so that's my thoughts. Leave a comment below. I don't know, for whatever you think about this. I'm curious if anyone had bought in 2014, 2015 after that first rise, at least the first rise that I remember seeing. It was in 2013, at least on the chart that I was just looking at. But I don't know if anyone bought then and held on tight, but if so, love to shake your hand. That was a long 5 years, if you will. But like I said, for me, it really wasn't that long that I wasn't even thinking about it. So I pretend that I'm not thinking about it again whenever I have those urges. All right, that's my thought. I hope. And maybe that's helpful for some of you where you're newer in the investment world and haven't experienced those long lulls. I know other stocks have gone a lot longer without moving, so 5 years is short compared to that. All right, looking forward to the next video.